Hey everyone, in this video I'll be trying to play through all the Roller Coaster Tycoon 1 original scenarios and try to beat them as quickly as possible. I will not play any of the expansions, and also I removed all my custom tracks from the folder. Also I turned on early completion, which is a feature in OpenRCT2 Tycoon 2, which allows you to beat a scenario as soon as you achieve the required goal. For example, 250 guests in Forest Frontiers. As soon as you reach it, you will beat the scenario, and you can move on to the next. It's just a feature that was added in Open Roller Coaster Tycoon 2, and which allows speedrunning to be more of a thing in this game. Alright, I will now just begin with Forest Frontiers. Let me start the timer. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, right off the bat we will open the park, quickly maximize our loan. Now I will build a junior coaster, which we will need also in a later park. Okay, I will open it. I will color it purple, just for so it's easier to get an award later in the game. And I will start advertisements. Now we want to spread out the guests a bit to stop them from leaving so soon. Let's add a shop or two. Oops. Let's save this track design. And if we skip ahead, we should beat the scenario. So we can go to the next. Dynamite Dunes. Okay, let me first speed up a bit. We'll change the waiting time for Dynamite Blaster a bit, so it's less likely to crash. Now there's a coaster we'll want to research. So let's speed up. Okay, there it is. Also, I see we'll need some staff, so let's do it now. Okay, that's perfect. We'll save the right design. Oops. Okay, let's open it. And then all we have to do is spam this right. I'll place just a few more. I think this is already overkill, but let's see. Alright, let's maximize our loan and we'll start some advertisements. And we'll just make some extra paths. There we go. Next. Okay, this one is really easy. Just maximize our loan. Start advertisements right off the bat. We'll research roller coasters. Okay, we should already have it by now. And now we'll make a new spammable design. Oh, actually I meant to make it purple. This is so it's easier to get the dazzling color schemes award. It's not particularly necessary, it just makes it all the little bits help, I guess. If you have an award active, it means that the spawn rate of your guests will be higher. Now, for the people who don't know how awards work, every month the game checks if there's every month the game just checks one of the random awards that is not yet active. So it chooses them by random. It can be a negative award that it checks, for example, worst food, or a positive award like safest park award. And so yeah, the game chooses one, then just checks for the conditions, see if the conditions are true, and if they are, then the game awards the award to you. But yeah, which award it checks is completely random every time. So the chance of getting a particular award is always pretty low. Some awards that you will basically always get are, for example, a safest park award. But some awards, like most dazzling color schemes, are awards that you'll probably not see very often. There we go. Alright, diamond heights. We only have to increase the park value here. So let's just maximize our loan. No need to take any advertisements. We will just build these coasters and put them in test mode. Like that. Oops. Now, park value isn't determined by the stats of your. It's not determined by how much your rides actually cost, but it's determined by the stats of your coasters. So if you make a coaster with really high stats, then let's move that mission price. If you make a coaster with really high stats, then that contributes a lot to your park value. But yeah, you can also just spam roller coasters in order to make your park rating increase. So here we'll just clear the scenery in this part, and we'll just make our park a little bit smaller. That yeah, this should be enough to contain the guests. And now we research roller coasters again. There we have it. And now we just spam them. Let's quickly put some mechanics, some handyman. Anyway, in order to attract guests, every ride that you add raises the guest cap. So, for example, every corkscrew coaster, I believe, raises the guest cap by 120. So the more you add, the more guests your park can have. And advertisements actually add a separate counter for your. So when you do advertisements, more guests will be generated, and that is separate from the generation caused by the rides in your park. So, for example, normally the game checks how many guests are already in your park. If you price them well, and how many rides are. So if you do advertisements, it just doesn't do all these checks. So basically advertisements just give you free guests. Okay, I think we'll make it. There we go. So to the next one, Bumbly Beach. Now here we'll remove Big Dipper as it takes a lot of space. We'll also remove the merry-go-round and the Ferris wheel. We'll remove these paths here as well. Okay, and remember that junior coaster we made earlier. Well, we first need to research here. Okay. Now we'll just spam this right here. In other scenarios, I typically use the looping coaster or the corkscrew coaster, but in this scenario it just takes too long for them to get researched. So since you only have 2 years to reach your goal, that would just take too long. Oh, seems I forgot to open one. Okay, let's build a few more, because junior coasters don't add much to the guest cap. Not enough cash. Okay, I think this should be enough, but let's play it safe for a bit. Okay, I'll just add 2 more. I should probably do some calculations on how much guests are added by the junior coaster. Of course I cannot build it there because of the height differences. Okay, this should be enough. Okay, I blew through most of my money, so just let's just run the advertisements that we can run. The advertisements for free entry to the park and half-price entry to the park become less effective if your entrance price is very low. So I'll not do those since I don't have a lot of money currently. Okay, this should do it. Let me quickly give it a boost again by running some advertisements that run out. Okay, here we go again. Bumbly Beach beaten. Okay, Trinity Islands. I believe it's not available from the start, so let's quickly research it. And let's build some stalls in the meantime. Okay. There we have it. And now, again, it's just a matter of spamming these. Ran out of cash. Okay, I'll just build a few more, but not too many, so I can still run some advertisements. This should be enough, really. Let's quickly put some staff first. Something OpenRCT2 Tycoon 2 added is that on these fields you can just scroll to increase the number, so you don't have to click the plus or minus every time, which is great and also saves quite a bit of time. Okay, there we go. Trinity Island beaten. Now we go to Katie's Dreamland. This park already has a few rides. I won't delete them. I think I will delete this train. Okay, now we just research the looping coaster. Right, there we have it. And again, it's just a matter of spamming these. No need for advertisements, so it's just a matter of getting the park value up. More cash. There we go. Next scenario, Pokey Park. This one's also fun. So for the first thing we do is demolish all the rides because they're built in a clumsy way. Big boat, purple barrel. And we'll just remove all the paths and scenery. I forgot what was the goal here. Okay, just park value. Okay, we'll research rides. There we go. Do I need a good park rating? No. So yeah, so once you know how park value is calculated, these missions become a breeze. So yeah, as I tried to explain earlier, the value of a park is decided by the stats of the rides that are in them. So you build a coaster with high stats, your park value increases a lot. So really all you have to do in those parks is spam the hell out of them. Even if you have a coaster that doesn't have very good stats, you can just put a lot of them and the park rating will also increase a lot. Now, most of these scenarios are quite straightforward, especially the scenarios in the original Roller Coaster Tycoon 1. In the expansions they added some more interesting scenarios that are not very speedrun friendly. like finishing 5 roller coasters in park that already have a start. Maybe I'll also do a speedrun of some of the expansion packs later. I think here I should probably open them. I could have probably made this path in a smarter way. Oh well. Oops. So yeah, any parks that have water, the water is usually a perfect place to spam these roller coasters. Okay, let's maximize our loan and start some advertisements. There we go. No, I just made a little mistake. So I didn't read the notes that I made, but this park can be won by just doing advertisements. So I already wasted some time there. Anyway, let's just carry on. So note to self, White Water Park can be won without building any attractions of your own. Knew it. The perspective trolls me sometimes. Just preparing a long path where we can spam our coasters. I will already start our advertisements. Anyway, for the people who just didn't understand my guest spawning explanation, I made a guide. It's on the OpenRCT2.org forums, and it explains when the guests spawn. It explains the guest spawning algorithm. So if you want to understand it more, I suggest you give that guide a read. It's in the OpenRCT2.org forums under the guides, tips and tricks section. Okay, let's speed it up. I forgot something. Need some stalls. I need some handyman. We'll need some mechanics and also some entertainers probably, because the park rating is dropping. Let's make some extra paths here. Okay, I messed up a bit in this scenario. I see what I did wrong. There's a park entrance fee. This should do the trick. Alright, there we go. And I already wasted some more time there. Okay, Karts and Coasters. What we'll do here is research coasters. Not yet. Still not the one we want. There we go. Okay, now we'll take the existing rides and we'll demolish them all. Maybe there's a faster way to do it. Okay, then we'll remove all scenery so we can see where we are building. And then we'll just spam our rides. We'll need some handyman, because the paths are very messy. As you can see, this is a very exciting roller coaster. The guests love it. Let's spread them through the park a bit. You'll get plenty of money in this scenario, especially if you delete the existing rides. So let's do tons of advertisements. Okay, this should be enough. Alright, Karts and Coasters beaten. Here we have Mel's World. It already has the looping coaster invented at the start, which is great. No entrance prize, so we won't be screwed over by that again. So the thing is, when guests have to pay a park entrance fee, no matter how little it is, they will only pay 1/4 of what they would normally pay for a ride. So that's why they won't pay the standard price that is charged for these coasters. So normally they're €2 or whatever your currency is in your game. And they won't pay that if there's also an entrance fee. So that's what my problem was in the Millennium Mines. And how much the guests will pay for your ride, that's dependent on the stats. So for each coaster type is different, but for example it takes 5 times your excitement rating, 3 times the intensity, and 1 times the nausea, for example. Then divide that by a certain number, and that will be the price they're willing to pay for your ride. I also made a guide on how much guests are willing to pay for a ride. You can also find it on the same location, so on the OpenRCT2 forums. Okay, this should be plenty. Okay, I already have the maximum loan, so do I already have food stalls? Yes, I see some. Okay, we have everything, so I think it's safe to start some advertisements. I'll just run them for a few weeks now, just to be safe, and don't blow all my money yet. Okay, number of guests is still rising. Okay, Mel's World beaten. Okay, then we go to Mystic Mountain. This one has some tricky landscape. Okay, this should work. Let's build as many coasters as possible here. It's not yet available, so let's research it. Okay, there it is. I should really learn how many guests each scenario requires. Oops. There's quite a lot of rain in this park. And I ran out of money. Okay. I think we can do one more. Okay. And this should last us until we reach the end of the scenario. Okay, let's speed up and hope for the best. We could probably use some extra paths here, just to spread out the guests a bit. Okay, at least we have plenty of money now. Looks like we just need a few more rides. Okay, let's try some more advertisements. Okay, scenario beaten. This one took quite a lot of time. Okay, Pacific Pyramids. Let's quickly delete these pyramids and just get a little bit of extra cash. Let's maximize our loan. Okay, 20,000. And we already have this ride available. So yeah, this will be a boring scenario. note that there are 5 speeds in the game, and I typically play on the 3rd speed. The 5th speed I typically only use if I want to wait for something to be researched, or at the end when I have used all advertisements and I just want to get all the guests in. I could probably play on the 4th speed, and that would already save a lot of time. But first I want to try it this way. It's a very rainy desert. Oops. This should be enough. Let's run advertisements. I forgot stuff, and the park is full of vomit. Let's make some extra paths to spread out the guests. There we go. Beaten. Crumbly Woods. The rides here are very crumbly, so we'll just delete them all. And now we have a boatload of money, which we will use to clear some scenery so we can see where we are building. Alright. And now we'll just spam corkscrew coasters. These corkscrews are probably better than the looping coasters, because they have better stats and they're cheaper. I should speed up. So we'll just spam a lot of these. And let's spam some stuff as well. Let's turn this into a normal path. Okay, now with advertisements I should be able to get the required goal. Let's give it a try. Perfect. Paradise Pier. Free entry, that's good. Okay, something that's annoying about this park is that... Okay, I still need to research the looping coaster. Something that's annoying about this park is that the path is quite high above the water. So I'll have to make a path downwards and spam the roller coasters there. Because you can't move ride the signs up and down when you place them. So if I place this design, I have to place it on the water here. I cannot make it higher. This maybe could be a nice feature for the developers of OpenRCT2 to add. Let's add some stuff. $600 guests, piece of cake. Okay, that was Paradise Pier. Now we go to the expert parks. Okay, first thing we'll do is remove this chairlift, and we'll remove this path here as well. Else we are going to make our rides here. It's available from the start, so that's good. Now, making a path to these coasters can be a bit tricky. And they're going to be quite expensive to build. Luckily the required amount of guests in this park is quite low. Stuff. Let's take out the loan. Okay, this is the maximum. How many guests? 900 at the end of year 3. Oh, that's convenient. Damn it. Oh, it's a much easier path. Now, I haven't practiced this run a lot, so you'll see me making quite some mistakes. I hate this terrain. This could be enough. Okay, let's see if I can add any rides here. Oof. Okay, I'm out of cash. The rain also doesn't help. In fact, I'll make some banners here. If I had cash, that was to stop the guests from going there. So I'll delete this ride and gain some money. Damn it. I got trolled by the perspective. There we go. Okay, Ivory Towers. Now, first thing we'll do is we'll delete all the rides here because they suck. We'll add a ton of handymen. For some reason the guests drown when you remove these rides. And instead of replacing all these benches and lamps and bins, we'll just override them with paths so they're removed. This is faster than replacing them all. And we don't really need them, they don't have any benefit. Okay. There we go, that should be all of it. No, we should just I'll hire some extra handymen. Okay, we have plenty of money now because we removed all the old rides. So this should be enough for us to beat the scenario. Let me start the advertisements already. Okay, we need 1,000. This should just be enough. Shit. Okay. Ivory Towers beaten. There's 2 more scenarios to go. Okay, this one is not my favorite. One's quite tricky. So what we'll do here is we'll make a path through the valley, 1 high. and we'll try to build our roller coaster there. Make it all the way to the end, just so we can try and fit as many as possible. Alright, here we go. First we need to research it. There we go. It's tricky to find locations where the coaster fits. Yeah, it beats. It's much easier than beating the scenario the normal way. Damn it. Okay. I guess like this will also work. Yeah, let's place them here in the mountain. Why not? Okay. Yeah, this is becoming a big path maze. But who cares? As long as the guests can reach them, it should be fine. It could be worth waiting for the corkscrew coaster to be researched in this scenario. I'm not sure when it will be researched. So maybe if I ever do a next run, that could be useful. So yeah, I really just try to place them anywhere I can in this scenario. Really, the number of rides you have in your park is really the key to beating a scenario. Of course, roller coasters add more guests to the guest cap in your park than thrill rides or gentle rides do. And corkscrew coasters add 120 guests per ride. Looping coasters, they add a similar amount. I don't know the exact number. Okay, we need 1,000 guests, so maybe I'll add 1 or 2 more. Okay, I think we can now start our advertisements. So let's do that. Quite short on money, so. Okay, let's see how this goes. I should probably add a few paths. Because it's getting really crowded there. Could also be because the only shops are at that area. I'll add some shops here. At least I'm earning money again, so that's good. Number of guests is still rising. And there we go. Okay, the final scenario. Because Mega Park doesn't have a goal, so we cannot complete it. Now, this one's going to be pretty easy. Because, again, it has the looping coaster from the start. So it's just a matter of spamming it. No entry price. What was the goal here again? 900 guests in year 4. It's quite an easy goal for the final scenario. And we're gonna need some mechanics, some handymen. Let's put some entertainers, why not? Let's maximize our loan. Cannot have a lot of loan in this scenario. Okay, this should be enough, I think. Do we already have any stalls? Probably not. Okay, there we have it. We have beat all the original Roller Coaster Tycoon 1 scenarios in little less than 1.5 hours. So yeah, this is all made possible by the early completion function of Open Roller Coaster Tycoon 2, and of course fast forwarding, and the game also helps a lot. So here you see it, all the Roller Coaster Tycoon 1 original scenarios completed. Of course, Mega Park doesn't have an objective, so we cannot beat that one. Alright, that was my speedrun of the Roller Coaster Tycoon 1 scenarios. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. And I hope to see more people running this game. Because of course, I made several mistakes in this run, and this run was not optimized at all. It should be possible to do this within an hour, I think. Alright, that was it. See you later.